Today, we're going to answer the question, why is it that Whiteout Survival is so popular right now? And by the way, not only is it a top-ranked city-building war game, but also they've got $1 billion in revenue over the last year and a half since the launch of the game, according to Sensor Tower. And that is really impressive. It certainly got my attention. Now, the funny thing is that I have been playing city-building war games for the last 6 years. That includes Rise of Kingdoms, Call of Dragons, War and Order, Infinite Galaxy. That includes Lord of the Rings, Rise to War. There are so many. Puzzles and Survival, Puzzles and Chaos. I've dabbled in Land of Empires, State of Survival. I mean, this list goes just like on and on and on and on for the city building war games I have played. And so I wanted to figure out, like, why is it that this one is ranking so highly right now? And the crazy thing is that this game isn't doing a lot new from what we've already seen. It's basically the same thing that you've seen before with a new coat of paint, and apparently that just works, which I find really surprising. But you can use the timestamps in this video to jump to whichever part you want. I'll walk through what's here, and of course, I'm only 3 days in, so this is very much the early game. This account is fully free to play, but if you wanted an overview of the game, here it is. So the first thing you need to know is that this is a city building game, first and foremost. It's one of the very first things that you will do. And what makes it unique in part is that you have these survivors, which is kind of funny because we know that very, very soon we're going to be getting Age of Empires Mobile. You have villagers, you assign those villagers to different things. Here you have survivors, and actually each survivor does have a name, and they live in different shelters that you've created. And the core idea here is like, hey, it's cold, we have to survive the storm. Okay, that's the core idea. And within your city, you've got a furnace. This is the equivalent of your city hall. It keeps everybody warm. If you don't have coal to run your furnace, then everybody starts getting sick and dying, and they go into your clinic, or they just don't go into the clinic, and they stay in their little shelters, and they actually all just die, which is what happened to me. I nearly lost half my village due to sickness, which was kind of crazy. All because I accidentally used up all my coal, and then didn't have any tokens, and then didn't have a way to get any more tokens. Yeah, it was actually a little bit of a crisis, okay? So this is a city building war game where, as I mentioned, furnace keeps everybody warm, do not run out of coal, and there are several resources that you need here. We're used to food, wood, stone, gold. Here, you've got wood, you've got coal, you've got iron, and you've got meat, food, okay? So in the cookhouse is where you prepare food, and what's a little bit different about this game is that to upgrade a building, you need to upgrade different aspects of that building before you can then level it up to the next level. So for example, this building is already ready to be leveled up because I've max leveled the stove. In fact, several of them, and each of these stoves can have somebody assigned to it. I've maxed the sideboard. I've maxed the dining table, etc., right? All those things are maxed out. Therefore, an upgrade is now available. If we look at another building where maybe I haven't done that, actually, I've just done a really good job of doing all those upgrades, whatever. There is the Hunter's Hut where I'm going to go and get meat, all right? There is the iron mine where I'm mining for iron. I mean, this is all pretty self-explanatory here. There is the coal mine where I'm getting coal. Oh, look, I can do upgrades here, just like I was describing. So to get to level 12, I'm currently 0% of the way toward being able to initiate the upgrade. I can commit meat, and then look at the next thing. I can commit meat. Each of those is only requiring meat, which happens to be a resource I have a lot of right now. All right, and you can see I'm 83%. Boom, now I can upgrade the building. This is the way that these core building upgrades work in your city. But there are buildings that you start to be able to create outside of that little area, the sort of center, where that's not the case. There's things like a hospital where your injured troops will hang out and you need to keep them healed up. There are troop training buildings, which, of course, you've got infantry, which I can show you there are many different tiers of this, but like how much armor do they have and how masked are they is the way that goes. T10 looks like it's the highest that I have access to right now. So I'll just go and start to train some T4s. You unlock higher tiers of units by leveling up your training building rather than doing research. And I've got Lancers. Lancers are a ranged unit. Then you've got your Marksmen right over here. Now, there may be another troop type I gain access to as I level up here. I think there might be cavalry, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. There's also research that you can do here. There's growth, economy, and battle, 3 different trees. The research here generally is very fast, and I'm finding the issue for me on the critical path here is resources. So I'm going to go in now. I can use some resource tokens. I can do this research for troop attack, and I can smash help. Which, of course, this is a city building war game. You're in an alliance. Your embassy determines how many times you can be helped, which reduces the time to go do stuff. And in the alliance, there's a lot of really important stuff that you can go and do. Most of this you are used to. The war screen shows you where rallies are happening. The territory screen shows you the land that you have, and there are special buildings for your alliance that can be built, like banners and headquarters. All of this stuff is very similar or familiar for city building war games. There are shops for your alliance, but also for several different game modes that you can play in. There's chests that you can go and claim when people spend money or when they do things in game. Here we are rallying stuff, and that gives rewards. We'll talk about that more in just a minute here. And of course, there is alliance technology for which you can make donations. Because I happen to have lots of meat here, I'll just smash off some meat-based donations, and boom, I'm contributing toward my alliance technology over here. There's growth, territory tree, and a battle tree. Again, all of this stuff is very, very, very standard for the genre of city building war games. Okay? No major innovations that I saw when I looked at that. Now, as you progress, you will very quickly gain access to heroes. There are several rarities of heroes: orange, purple, and blue. They obviously call them something else, probably SSR, SR, and R, rare. Okay, sure. Each of these heroes has 2 different sort of branches for their skills, and which trees they have is sort of indicated up top for the hero. You can see the 2 trees listed here, and I can tap them. Hero class marksman and also combat. So when I look at the skills, he's got exploration, and it describes for each of these kind of what they do, and you use a different upgrade material to work on these skills, expedition. All right. So you upgrade the skills on your hero. To do those upgrades, however, you need to sort of star them up. In this game, it's snowflakes, and you do that by basically collecting shards of the hero. So to upgrade a hero, you collect their shards to increase their star level and ascend them, or their star tier. You also apply experience to them to increase their level. For example, I can upgrade this guy like that. He gains some power. And you'll see here that as you level them up, they gain escorts. And that is for one of the very first modes you'll encounter where you get to use these heroes. And that is the exploration mode. Now, the exploration mode happens in sort of an ongoing basis, and you can claim rewards. This is basically AFK reward farming. And I don't think I can actually beat this mode, so I'll just run it. But there are tons of these levels. You set up your troops, typically infantry in front. Ideally, I'd have probably 2 different infantry heroes, but I don't have 2 great ones. And you just smash fight. All right. Now, I'm running this on auto. I'm running this on 2x speed, and I'm letting their abilities happen whenever the game decides. I mean, as soon as they're off cooldown, right? And I don't think this is the best way to rank well in this game mode, but you do so many of these levels that, like, I don't know, man. I just run this thing on auto. Now, like I mentioned, this level happens to overpower me. There are several ways to change that dynamic, put skills onto my heroes to level them up, and my level cap is limited by my furnace level. So leveling up my furnace is a pretty big deal here. Now, later on, there'll be things like equipment for my heroes, but I am not nearly there. Now, as you're building things out, you may be wondering, how do you know what to do here, Chesscool? Well, there are a series of quests and missions to follow. There is a chapter mission, which gives you pretty moderate rewards for doing things that you ought to be doing and directs you kind of, hey, do this now, do that. There are growth missions, which follow a similar cadence of being a pretty good idea to do these things, and you get some moderate rewards for it. And there are daily missions, which you're very much used to. Try to get these done every single day for a gold key. Keys are how you can recruit your heroes, along with events and other things. Speaking of which, there are some events that try to steer you to do certain things. These events are all in the upper right, and there are many of them. There's an event calendar. Like, this is all stuff that you're just, like, very, very used to from city building war games. There's, like, nothing new here. Rookie's Growth is where you get rewards for gaining power at the start of a new kingdom. Gina's Revenge is the equivalent of Lohar's Trial and Rise of Kingdoms, where you basically battle the equivalent of barbarians. In this game, they're monsters. I'll show you. You get some stuff to summon, things to rally. You rally them, and you get hero tokens. In this case, they're shards of Gina for having done that, okay? There is a Bear Hunt event, which I haven't done yet. That's an alliance-based event. There's a Fortress Battle. Sign-ups are coming. And the Monument is something you're also used to from Rise of Kingdoms, if you're subscribed to my channel. This is basically the Kingdoms Chronicles. Now, in this game, you aren't actually in a kingdom per se. You're in what's called a state. And once you reach a certain level, you can start to actually explore the world. You can see here I'm in the hive of our alliance. And as I scroll way out, the map is large, and there is, of course, a center objective. Hold the center objective to be sort of king of the kingdom. Here it's called the Sunfire Castle. You become the president. Very, very familiar stuff. Like, this game is making so much money, but like, I still haven't found what it's doing that's new and different from other city building war games, other than like, hey, it's got this like frozen tundra coat of paint. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. It's just, you know, they've combined a lot of things from a lot of these games. Like, for example, something that I've seen a lot of these games is like Intel. And you get a bunch of quests. I've done most of them. There's only this legendary quest left. It wants me to take this thing out. I'm not strong enough yet, so I can't. I need more higher tier troops to actually get this done. Is what it is. When I can, I'll go battle it. But there's a bunch of those quests where like your troops just run out and they do stuff. I've got stamina over here. It's in green. Using up stamina is really actually kind of interesting in this game. So one thing they do that is kind of novel is that to join a rally against one of these equivalents of a Lohar from Rise of Kingdoms, which is where you're getting your special hero shards, and you definitely want to do this. But joining a rally is free in this game. Joining PvE rallies, from what I've seen, is free, but to set the rally costs. So you obviously want people in your alliance to be setting rallies here because you can join for free and get a bunch of rewards. The game actually limits the number of times you can claim those rewards. Otherwise, you could just like max out the hero right away and everybody would be frustrated because there's a limited number of people that can actually join the rally over here. So you can see here, not only did I get a reward for initiating 10 rallies, but also if I hit the gift button, I've joined 27 of the 50 rallies that I can do over the course of, I think, this event where I can get extra rewards. Right? Now, technically, I think I can still rally these things after the event has ended, but, you know, just to show you how that goes, I go into my backpack, I go over to other, I've got these horns, I use one, there it is, ooh, this thing's huge, holy smokes. I smash rally, it's going to use 25 currency. Suitable alliance members will auto-join 1 minute after activating the rally. Kind of neat, you can auto-join rallies, so if like everybody's AFK, they'll autofill with presets you can decide. But I set this rally, and boom, there we go. People can join up. It costs me 25 stamina. It costs everyone who joins 0 stamina. Pretty big deal. So the map is very much what you're used to, right? There's cities on here. In fact, let me just go back to where my city is real quick. Okay. My city is not bubbled because I have reached a certain city hall level. But, and it's not a city hall, it's a furnace level. These cities are bubbled. These are other players, presumably all real players. These are their marches on the map. And like I said, it's like nothing new here. Like, these marches go to where they say they're going. Anyone can see where they're going. And if you want to go faster, you use gems. If you want to turn around, you use gems. So be sure that you knew what you were doing when you said, hey, I want to attack this or I want to attack that. For example, I could go find something to attack here. I could do a little search for a beast. I could theoretically do a level 11. If I hit it, I hit attack. I'm likely to prevail. Okay, 16 seconds. If I want to get there faster, I can use speed ups, which cost gems. And so a lot of like this style of game, what you're doing is like rush attacking and timing things. And like the skill is landing an attack at the same time as other people typically. I am not in the end game of this game, so I couldn't say for certain if that's how it works here, but GG's, right? And I think, when I start to dig around as to like, why is it that people play this style of game, what I have come to realize, and I should do an upgrade here, upgrade a building. They want me to upgrade my shelter. Sure. Boom. Done. Now I can hit help. I think a lot of people play this style of game because they aren't actually a gamer. Straight up. Like, they're not typically a gamer. This is a vertical orientation of the game. I'm like holding my, iPad vertically, which is, I don't want vertical games. Like, I want a horizontal game, 100%. I do not want a vertically oriented game. It's funny, we were talking about this on stream the other day, and I thought people were talking about vertical progression systems versus horizontal progression systems, totally different dialogue, but whatever. This is a vertically oriented game. You cannot twist the device. Nothing happens. So like, I'm sitting there with my case, which I now have off. But like I got to turn the case like this. It's not meant to be this way, whatever. Vertical games, I don't get it. It's not for me personally. And I think that this style of game is just really, really, really accessible to people who would not normally game. And it's really, really easy to progress in this game. That's not to say that the top end doesn't get more complicated. Obviously it does. But like, look, it is simple and satisfying to understand how to upgrade these heroes. It's simple, satisfying, and it happens pretty dang fast. So you feel like in your first couple days playing this game, you really are doing a lot. And even just tapping the button a gazillion times like I was showing you, upgrading these little things over here, the fact that upgrades are so incremental in nature makes it feel like you're constantly even getting little power-ups that make a small difference in your success or failure. And I think that dynamic is a part of what keeps people interested in this game. By the way, did I just finish that upgrade? Bro, being in a good alliance, so good. Those helps roll in so fast. Oh my gosh. Right? Like these, I can smash help on that real quick. But these little upgrades, right? Like they're small. I don't even know what stats I'm getting. This is the other thing I noticed about this game. Is like, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time, but I'm getting upgrades and I'm like, let's go, paw huggers, right? Like, I genuinely do not know what my heroes do in this game. Like, straight up, I've played this game for 3 days. I have been playing in this genre for 6 years. I don't know what my heroes do, and I actually don't even care at this point. It doesn't even matter. I'm just saying, auto-deploy whatever is the best, and they're doing it. And like, yeah, I'm sure if I keep playing, I would take more interest and get a better sense of what each hero actually does, right? Like, this is a combat hero. If we look at their skills, they're doing all combat things. Some of these heroes, that's not the case. Like, for example, I'm sure I can find one over here. This dude, Smith, right? Like, he's got some economy-based stuff. And I think this applies all the time. Smith's contagious passion for the art of crafting has raised the city iron mine output by 5%. This aspect of collection, where heroes do things passively for your city, I have seen in many games before. Like, for example, I saw this in Puzzles and Survival, right? Where your heroes had a passive city-based benefit. Like, it's just a buff, which is pretty cool. It is very rewarding to be collecting that, as it turns out. Lords Mobile, I believe, has heroes that can operate in that way. And you can see here, I actually have an upgrade available. So, like, I really, really want more coal production. Unfortunate for me, I can't actually do that yet till he's 2 stars, but I can upgrade this one, coal gathering speed. So like, sure, coal gathering speed. I'll take it. I can do an upgrade. GG easy. So the way you get your heroes, as I mentioned, is to open up keys. The rewards here are listed in the recruitment preview. It's pretty straightforward. And these are only the basic heroes that are available. It is my understanding that this game has generations of heroes and that new generations of heroes are released periodically, I believe every 3 months or so. But if you play this game, let me know down below in the comments. So the new generation of heroes are always better than the old generation of heroes. And it's just that style of game where like the new is always better than the old. So yeah, this adds a very linear sort of progression. It's easy to understand. Like I said, this is a game designed for non-gamers. And there's plenty, I'm sure, to min max and go off the deep end on, but like you don't have to. And that's kind of the point. Okay. And for a lot of people that are subscribed to my channel, that's not the kind of game they're interested in. But for a lot of other people, this is a kind of game that is really, really accessible. Okay. Now, there is one sort of unique-ish mechanic that I've seen here, although I think this is even coming in Age of Empires Mobile in some form, which is that you have these chief orders. So for like example, I could do this thing, urgent mobilization, force my survivors at all work sites to work 48 hours. Yikes. You lose mood, so you piss people off, and there's sort of like an approval rating that you need to manage, but like hasn't ever been a problem yet. So GG, I'll just get some more productivity. Theoretically, there's like a combination of things you can do where you pop that. I think you're supposed to pop productive day. I'm just going to do it. What, can I do it? Yeah. Multiple things are active here. And then I think the next one I'm supposed to pop is up over here, rush job. I could be wrong. 5 days worth of resources from all work sites. Seems good. Ooh, what a combo, baby. So like theoretically, maybe I should have upgraded some buildings before I did all that, but whatever. There's strategy behind like what you do with those sorts of policies. I think this is also coming in Age of Empires Mobile, where there's a little bit of a sort of policy stuff you can do here, and that influences a bunch of things. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, yes, I can go over here. There's a suggestion box from my people. Even though I just pissed everybody off, I'm still 81% satisfaction. People love the heck out of me, bro. I'm crushing it. On stream a couple days ago, I was 69% satisfaction. I kept hovering around that. But your satisfaction rating dictates some rewards here. Ooh, looks like I've got work to do, though. Rewards are sent at 05 UTC. I need to get my satisfaction up in 8 hours and 40 minutes. That's when the tally locks in. So I may have just wrecked myself with that work order, but like, you know, I got 8 hours to get it sorted out, right? Now the game does have day and night cycles, which is important to mention. So right now it's nighttime, but everybody's working because I have that 48-hour work order. Get wrecked, nerds. You can see here's the furnace. So my city's temperature is very cold, and the external temperature is even colder. And the rules of that are here, but when you actually go into the furnace, you do need to manage this thing, and I just keep it running. I don't know why I would ever turn it off. Don't ever run out of coal, because everybody gets sick and dies. Literally, they die. But the weird thing is that even though I got wrecked, like within one in-game day, I got offered all new survivors to replace the ones that had died. So I don't know if that's just like a beginner thing or if there's more to that, but that problem got managed very, very, very quickly, and I did almost nothing. I tried to upgrade my clinic. I don't even know why I have this. Nobody comes here, and nobody should need to come here if I'm not a bozo, and I just maintain my coal. Gosh darn it. Now there is VIP, obviously. VIP has to be activated in this game, which is something that like kind of triggers me, but it's in a lot of this style of game. It's like, you have your VIP level, but if you don't have the tokens to activate your VIP, then it's not active, which is like mind-blowing to me that that's a thing. But there are heroes you get as you increase your VIP level, and I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me that just really wants the heroes, and so I definitely understand the desire to have VIP and have the heroes. GG. You also have a VIP shop. You have access to more of that shop as your VIP level goes up. Very standard stuff in this genre. Nothing new to report about that. And let's see here. The day-night cycle I mentioned already. I think you can mess around with this a little bit too. Can you change this around? Maybe not. But their cycle is like actually here. So the time of the day is listed. Your survivors can rise to almost any challenge with a full night's sleep. GG, but urgent mobilization is active, so no sleep for anyone. What else do I want to show you here? I could take you to the shop, right? There's a bunch of stuff in here. You can buy an extra march queue, which like seems like something critically important. I can only have 2 marches out at a time right now. Part of that has to do with research. Part of that has to do with things I can buy. I should buy the march queue. There are daily deals. Looks like this guy's on the daily deal, Zen Man. All right. There are weekly and monthly cards. Usually those are super high value. Then there are the regular packs. You can get Molly. Looks like you can get gold keys, which mostly gets you more Molly, I think. Training packs. Yeah, I mean, all the sorts of stuff. Oh, skill packs. Those would come in handy. Steel. That is actually really important for doing research. I kind of goofed up. There's a growth fund, so you get to a furnace level. You can get gems if you've paid for this. And of course, you can buy gems here. But yeah, one thing I sort of messed up is that there's these optional upgrades over here. And I was spending all this steel doing these optional upgrades. And then I needed to do research. And I was out of steel. And originally, research didn't require steel, but then it did require steel. And originally, I didn't even have any use at all for steel. So like, yeah, TLDR, save your steel for research. People tried to tell me that on stream. I was like, what are you talking about? But it took me a while. I think it was like furnace level 9-ish that I got to do research at all and build a research center. And the other thing that was kind of wacky that I like didn't know you could do this, but there's that little like yellow bars by that production area. Apparently you can make fancy meals, and fancy meals keep your survivors fuller for longer, and that's definitely worth doing. That's what all the guides say. Just do that. I'm like, all right, bet, done. Easy. And I don't even notice the difference. I mean, I get that it takes more meat, but I feel like it's such an irrelevant amount that like, sure, do that. But I don't know how I ever would have found that upgrade, by the way. Like, I had to tap on the stove, and then I had to tap to do the upgrade. Like, I don't know. Are there other buildings where I needed to upgrade something? I never would have figured that out, genuinely. But most other stuff about this game is honestly like, it's just very intuitive. And for 7 days, they're rewarding me for logging in, which is pretty standard stuff, right? This is all like super standard. Grants a full set of infantry heroes epic gear, including 4. Right. So like gear is not something I have yet. But I'm sure that as I work on my furnace level, these things will get unlocked. I sort of wonder, it doesn't tell me. There is all the way up to furnace level 30, but then I think this is common in this genre. After you get to 30, maybe you can go further. And there's like, I don't know. I just remember in Puzzles and Survival, there was a way to go beyond the max level. This is also true in War and Order, and like you needed crystals to go beyond the max level. I would be surprised if there wasn't something very similar in this game. And you know, there are just a lot of currencies in this style of game, and those currencies dictate your pace on all kinds of stuff. GG's. If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. Alternatively, you can click the card that will show up on screen right over here in just a second. I live streamed my starting in this game. You want to see the start? You want to see how I got here? Check this live stream. I streamed for like 2.5 to 3 hours playing the game, so you can see exactly how far I got and what you do at the start. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I get why people play it. It's just a solid collection game, but watch for yourself. You'll see.